Well, it was a very tight session, but Menu finally comes away with the pole.
Okay, so once again, Menu is on the pole for this race as I would have expected, and now it looks as though my laptop is giving me issues again, unsurprisingly. Well, qualified 8th in the end, so I still maintain my trend of qualifying in the top 8 for every race so far. Okay, I think I've got the issue fixed now. So, let's move on to the start of race 2 here at Oulton Park. And got a reasonable start this time around, not quite as much wheel spin. And also hoping I do not have as many incidents on the first lap as I did in the first race, as my teammate is now already behind me. And couldn't really tell you where he finished in the first race because I wasn't paying attention, but either way, well, I have another incident with Jamie Bintcliffe, but at least I did not have some involvement in crashing him out of the race this time, like I did in the previous one. And trying to clear the Nissan, we both make contact, and he's able to save it, and I think he's defending his position now from Kelvin, as I am up into the 6th position behind the two Hondas of Thompson and Tarquini, and I can also see the leading Audi up ahead of me of Frank Bieler, who is also just up ahead in my view screen. And the two Renaults are basically blasting away from the rest of the field so far, as I would have anticipated them to do. And I think one of the Hondas just wrecked himself. That was probably Tarquini. Of course, Tarquini himself is arguably a touring car champion in the DTM, I think. Of course, the Alpha 155, when it was a race car, it certainly dominated in a big way because... oh, shit. Well, at least I can say... he didn't drop out of contention. But anyways. Race 2 here at Oulton Park. I really don't think beating the Renaults is going to be a possibility now. But either way, as long as I come out of here with a reasonable points lead, then ultimately, so far at least, I've really got nothing to worry about. There are still plenty more races to go, and next time around we should be halfway, as I force one of the Audis off track into the grass, and trying to clear the other Honda now as I again make some contact. Just trying to make sure I clear him. And I'm now closing in on Jason Plato in the second of the two Renaults. It looks as though I'm probably not going to have a win here at Oulton Park, but either way, I'm still going to have a reasonable points lead because I won the previous 8 races literally coming into this one. So 1.2 seconds behind Jason now. I'm closing in on Plato, really hoping I do not crash him. Just had to move him out of the way. Still wrecked him to an extent, but at least I can say it was not anything unlawful. And Menu is now only 9 seconds up the road, so... do I have a chance at winning this race? Probably not. But am I at least going to try and see if there is the direct possibility of me winning this race? Yes. As long as I don't spin out too many times, then I might be a contender before this is over. It's all I can really say for sure. Also, one thing that did amaze me from the first race is how Cleland wound up finishing 7th. And he definitely scored more points than I thought he was going to score. I thought for sure he was going to be right on the edge of the points. And there goes any chance of winning I have, I think. Unless Menu makes a ton of mistakes in front of me. Or he gets blocked heavily by lapped traffic. But either way, it doesn't really matter because Menu is clearly the superior driver here at... I can never think how to properly pronounce it. Here at Oulton Park. Menu does seem to be the superior driver. But either way, he's not pulling too far ahead of me, so I might be a contender before this deal is over, but I would imagine he probably is going to extend his lead now. At this stage, after that spin I had. Basically, spinning out of turn 1 and into the pit exit. Oh yeah, I've never actually shown what a pit stop looks like. Well, I'll probably have to show that once the championship is over. Because I'm definitely in the middle of a heated battle here. If I have a potential chance of winning. And it looks as though any chances I did have of winning now are steadily decreasing. Because I can tell when Menu is the superior driver, and he is definitely making a lot less mistakes than I am at the moment. Well, I'm able to close the gap to him every so often, but not to the point of where I could ultimately eat into his lead. So it looks as though I'm probably still going to remain winless here at Oulton Park, but I don't think it really matters to me too much because I do have quite a points lead anyway. I am closing in at a quicker rate of knots than I thought I was going to, so maybe this thing isn't over. But I'm certainly not going to count all the eggs until they're hatched, as I constantly tell myself. Well, I'm slowly closing in, but I still don't know if winning here is going to be a direct possibility. Especially since I know Menu did dominate the first race by quite a huge margin. But if I do manage to beat him, it's only going to be because my car is just about as good as he is. Well, I'm definitely closing in again, so maybe winning here at Oulton Park is a possibility. Potentially. Anyways, so Warwick, And I'm definitely closing in on Menu now because he's held up by lapped traffic. This could be my moment to strike. Of course, I'm not going to say anything until I am close enough. It's taken me 9 laps to get as close to Menu as I am now. I'm now less than 2 seconds behind Menu in the leading Renault, and as I say that, the Ford just put me into the wall because he was not letting me through like a degenerate arsehole. I'm not sure which one of these buttons is to honk the horn, but I'm pretty sure one of them is. Oh, that's the one. Okay, it's R1. So apparently I can honk the horn. And I think because the Ford was not prepared to let me through, even though he should have clearly let me through, I'm basically just going to give him this. Yeah, that's payback, you little shit. I really couldn't tell who that was, but I think it was Radicic who just put me straight into the wall for whatever reason. I'm also pretty sure that incident wasn't premeditated. He just basically did it for the sake of doing it. Even though he probably could see I was in his mirrors. He just decided, fuck it. I'm just gonna put him into the tyres. And that's basically what he did. Well, at least I can say... Well, at least I can say I've not dropped too far behind the leader. But it looks as though Menu from here is potentially extending his lead from here. The way I see it. I don't think I'm going to catch him unless I get very lucky. I really had to force my way through the back markers if I was going to at least put myself back in contention for this thing. As John Cleland is now just up ahead of me, it looks as though Menu is pretty much extending his lead now because the back markers are not giving him any issues anymore. And certainly having a hard time of trying to keep up with the Renault. But somehow I'm still with him, so maybe I can pull this off, maybe I cannot. But either way, we're still going to wait and see. Because I'm going to try and do whatever it takes to make sure I stay in contention for this thing. And that if there's any possibilities of me catching Menu at all, I will definitely take any opportunity I can get. So I'm slowly narrowing that gap down. And I was definitely bouncing there in that one part of the circuit, but either way, I can at least say I'm still contending for this thing because I'm only 5.5 seconds behind the Renault. I think the only chance I really have of getting past him is if he makes a mistake. Well, I seem to be closing in on him again, so... Some parts of the track seem to favour the Renault, whereas other parts don't. And if I do manage to win this, then it's certainly going to be a hard-fought one. If I do manage to catch up to him in time and not crash myself in the process. I could still be in this thing as long as I don't trip over myself whilst catching him, well, I'm still a contender because I'm only 3.6 seconds back now of Menu. Really trying my hardest not to make any mistakes here. Well, I am closing in on him. He doesn't seem to be quite as fast as he was earlier in the running. Earlier in the race. So, if I can manage to get close enough and not be a twat in the maneuvers I try to pull off, then I could potentially lead this thing. Oh, and in saying that, I do end up being the twat. Well, it was nice while it lasted. Also, if I do manage to get up to Menu's bumper again, I'm going to make sure I'm on mute. But I don't think that's going to be the case. Because I'm pretty sure I lost some valuable time there when I had that spin. Well, it is going to be frustrating if I lose, but either way, it won't be too frustrating because I do still have a relatively comfortable lead. Yeah, I think that's probably handed Menu the win now. I don't think I'm going to catch him. I've made too many mistakes. I really don't think I'm going to catch him now for the rest of this one. Unless I get very lucky and Backmark has managed to hold him up just long enough to the point of where I can catch him. That's about my only real hope, the way I see it. Well, I'm slowly closing in again, but I don't think I'm going to catch him. I had my chance and I basically blew it. Although it shouldn't surprise me too much, because, well, I am closing in again, but I really don't know if I either will or won't win this race. Because the only way I can really be sure of knowing if I do manage to win this race is if I do it on favourable terms. And the interval that time around in Sector 3 was relatively balanced. That was unchanged for some reason. But yeah, I think Menu at this stage is clearly proving his superiority over me. Up. Looks like I'm gonna come up just short once again of a potential win here at Oulton Park. But at least I can say I maintain the points lead. I knew it was going to be hard to win here, especially since I have won at every other track at this stage of the season, with the exception of this one. I don't know if I either will or won't be close enough to potentially winning here, but either way, I'm still a contender. Menu is being blocked by backmarkers again, so you never know what might happen at this stage. Also, he just overlapped my teammate, so maybe Kelvin has actually helped me out here, potentially. And John is not being very helpful here, as he wasn't letting me clear him. And now just putting the Ford Mondeo a second lap down now, as it looks as though I am seeing the midfield runners now holding up Menu just long enough for me to catch him. I might be a contender before this is all said and done. And in saying that, I just got wrecked. Well, I might still have a shot at this thing, but I think now that the midfield runners have just wrecked me, I'm quite sure that was probably the best chance I had of winning this thing. Unless I can get close enough to Menu again to somehow take the lead away from him. But I don't think that's going to be the case. As much as I'd really want that to be the case, I don't really see myself catching back up to him to the point of where I could beat him, because, well, he's cleared the traffic now, so... Oh, sorry, Calvin. That Ford is not being very helpful here today, and apparently there might be, neither is the Honda. Yeah, you know what? I've just had enough of you. So, I'm just going to show you my displeasure. Yeah, I've pretty much lost any shot now I had of winning this thing, because of the midfield traffic not being helpful. Well, it looks as though I am going to come close again, but I'm also going to come up just short of winning here. So, once again, Oulton Park is going to be my Achilles heel. It doesn't look as though I'm going to win here, unless lapped traffic becomes an issue again, or unless Menu has a spin at this stage. I'd say my chances of winning here are quite limited now. But I'm still able to close the interval somehow, so maybe I'll end up winning this, maybe I won't. We'll just have to wait and see what Lady Luck will present in what has been quite an entertaining but also very wacky race in terms of the amount of action and contact that has emerged throughout this race. So maybe I will be a contender before this thing is out, maybe I won't. I cannot say when for sure until the chips are laid down and the wheel starts spinning. And there goes any shot I did have of winning, because I spun on the infield. Well, it was nice while it lasted. Doesn't look as though I'm going to catch Menu this time. I've come close. It's definitely been a hard-fought race for me to at least try and win, but for some people this might be a tough pill to swallow, but it would be even tougher for me to swallow if I didn't have as large of a lead as I currently have. But either way, it doesn't matter, because yeah, he's pretty much pulling away now. I don't think I'm going to catch him. There isn't enough time for me to get back up to him. Well, closing the interval once again, but I don't think I'm going to catch him. I mean, unless lapped traffic gives him some issues, my chances of winning now are pretty much done for. So, I'm just going to accept second, and whatever other positions I can get. Well, I'm in it for the points after all, but it just depends on what happens from here. Yeah, he's pulling away now, so... Well, I came close to him on a number of occasions, and I could have very well taken the lead away from him, but even if I did, I don't think I would have been able to beat him. It would have been hard to imagine a scenario where I would have beaten him, but either way, it doesn't matter because, well, I'm running in second, I'm thinking about the points, and it is fair to say I couldn't really catch him, even if I would have been a contender to win. I think the lapped traffic now has pretty much been cleared. Well, I might potentially get some redemption here if I use it for cheat code purposes. But at this stage... Oh, fuck my ass. I basically know I'm not winning this thing. I made far too many mistakes for this to be a race-winning run. I came close on a number of occasions, but it doesn't look like I'm gonna catch him. Unless someone crashes him, or whatever. I've come close on a number of occasions, but could just never quite thread. But could just never quite thread the needle and seal the deal. Anyways, final lap. We're basically well clear of third place, so I'll still get second at the end of the day. I'll definitely take it as long as I don't lose too many points. There were a couple of shots where I could have led this race, but I could just never quite seal the deal at the end of the day to the point of where I could actually contend for the win. Yeah, I think Menu is pulling away from me now. And if I have one more spin at this stage, then... I'm not going to forget it too much. Well, at least I can say I didn't spin in the final corner this time. But anyways, second place, I'll take it.
A comfortable victory in the end then for Menu, who drove a superb race. Here's a rundown of the final placings.
Well, Nissan definitely had a good run. Anthony Reid finished fifth in that race. And Thompson once again beats Plato. But a good result, a good points day for Nissan at least, because they finished 5th and 7th. That's actually not too bad. But anyways. And my teammate rounds out the points. Cleland was just on the cusp of the points. But either way, I still have a big points lead, so that's the main thing. Let's move on to the points. Here we go.
Now, after 2 great races, let's see the championship table. A great season so far then for the new Volvo driver. At the moment, he's putting the professionals to shame.
Well, Tiff, I wouldn't say I'm putting the professionals to shame, but if you say so, then, you know, I'll just go along with it. That's actually not a bad shot of the Volvo from up high. But anyways. Yes. And that is the end of our second venue in the second quarter. And now it is time for us to move on to the halfway point of the season, which is Donington. Coming up next.